Welcome to the Switchblade Sisters Social Club. Yet another true crime podcast where two middle-aged friends exploit their worst fears for your entertainment. You're welcome.
For more information, find us on Instagram and Facebook or check out our website at www.switchbladesisterssocialclub.com. Audience discretion advised.
Hi, this is Switchblade Sisters Social Club, where two friends exploit their worst fears for your entertainment. My name's Dee, and this is my co-host, Emma.
Hello, everybody. How you doing?
Hi. Oh, it feels like ages since we recorded because I actually went away. I went to Brazil for a family wedding.
Me. Everybody, she left me. I was mortified and got myself into all manner of trouble when she wasn't here to look after me. So
really, you did. So
I don't blame you.
luckily, I blame me. I blame me too. But luckily, I'm not leaving you again. And the next time I leave the country will be in March with you, so I can keep an eye on you. We're going to South Africa. We're going to Cape Town and then Kruger. I know, so exciting. We're going to be there for our birthdays because, listeners, our birthdays are 2 days apart. So we're going to bathe some elephants and do some safari and other fun stuff on our birthday, aren't we?
Yeah, I cannot wait. I'm really excited. I mean, we booked it so long ago and now it's only a couple of months away. So
it's bonkers, isn't it? Yeah. So I'm not leaving you anytime soon.
Good. Never again.
Also, in the last couple of weeks and months, the world has gone even crazier. And this episode, I know what topic you've covered because we had a discussion about whether or not to do it, and I think it's a really good idea. I think a lot of our listeners are also struggling with this news. And what I'm talking about is the US elections.
Yeah. I mean, it's so batshit. I don't even have the words for how batshit it is. I really don't. Like, what are you thinking, America? What are you thinking?
I am happy to say that I'm not that much of a fan of Kamala Harris either, but she hasn't been done for 800 million different horrible fucking crimes. So the fact that Trump can do everything that he's done and still get elected, it says so much about the culture and the mindset and the people at the moment that's so depressing. And it does affect the rest of the world because Britain takes its lead from the States politically and all sorts. For me as a Palestinian, it's fucking awful. Like Trump was awful for us last time around. So, you know, I know the people that I know in and outside of the States have just been like thrown, just in shock, depressed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same. So, one of my friends actually was in tears about it, like just couldn't believe it when she woke up and got that news. Like it's fucking scary that this guy is in charge of America's nuclear weapons. Like really scary.
I also want to say that this morning I woke up to the news that Biden had pardoned his son of his crimes.
That. I fucking saw that. Yeah. Like, I mean, if you're gonna go out, you might as well.
I mean, I get it because I'd want to do the same, but I don't think you're allowed to. I don't think it's a good look. Anyway,
well, it's interesting. It's interesting because like some of the stuff that I'm talking about is around that as well, and what Donald Trump will do as soon as he gets into power.
All right, so everyone buckle up because this one's going to be traumatic, and it's probably the case that we're covering that's like most going to affect our listeners. That's a scary thing, isn't it?
I know.
Yeah. So over to you for our Trump episode. Ugh.
I know. I did struggle. That's why I spoke to you about it as to whether or not to do it. But I tell you what, it's been really enlightening. Like I had no idea when I first started looking at him actually how much shit this man has done and how many laws he's broken and how many times he's been bankrupt and all of these kind of things. And how is he president? it makes no sense. It makes no sense at
Yeah.
all.
And I do
So
think it's important for us, it, it's for the general population to be educated on these things, to,
100%.
to know what we're up against, really, and to stop stuff
Yeah.
like this happening again. But
I mean, the
anyways,
only saving grace is this is the last time he'll be president. Like he
yeah,
can't be president again. That's the only saving grace of all of this batshit
yeah.
craziness.
And like I said, the world is crazy and it has gone through some crazy shit. It's 4 years of Trump that we can withstand. It's more what it says about the people and the mindset that he's got voted in again. That's really terrifying.
Yeah, I agree. I
So
agree.
over to you for our
Okay.
Trump debacle.
Debacle. It is a debacle. Okay. I also didn't realize how old he was,
Hmm.
but yeah, he was born on June the 14th, 1946 in Queens, New York, and he was the fourth child of a property tycoon. He grew up with older siblings, Marianne, Fred Jr., and Elizabeth, and a younger brother, Robert, and grew up in Queens. So he was expected to work the lowest tier jobs within his father's company and was sent off to military academy at age 13, where he basically just started misbehaving straight away. So after high school, he considered studying at the University of Southern California, but ended up enrolling in Fordham University in 1964. He attended the liberal arts college, Fordham Rose Hill campus for 2 years and then transferred to the University of Pennsylvania, where he graduated in May 1968 with a Bachelor of Science in Economics. And it's funny because even in 2015, Trump's lawyer threatened all of the colleges and schools that he's attended about releasing his academic records. So he like put a stop to that straight away.
Oh my God. I mean, you can't assume because he's been to uni that he's smart because, uh,
Absolutely not.
yeah, because I mean, we did a whole episode on the American school university scandal. Um,
Yeah.
it is a very privatized system over there, especially. And yeah, if you
But
have
it
money,
gets
you can go
better.
to uni. Yeah.
It gets better. So whilst he was in college, and this was something else I didn't know, he obtained 4 student draft deferments during the Vietnam War,
Mhm.
where he was deemed unfit for military service, but then he was told that he could serve. But then again, he was classified as having bone spurs, so didn't have to do military service in Vietnam. And maybe that's a shame because it would have sorted him out, but who knows?
And that's another
Um,
thing that people can buy exclusions from
yep,
conscription,
exactly. So in
allegedly.
1977, yeah, in 1977, he married Czech model Ivana, and they had 3 children, Donald Jr., Ivanka, and Eric. They divorced in 1990 following his affair with the actress Marla Maples. So Trump and Maples married in 1993 and divorced in 1999. So they had one daughter called Tiffany, who we don't hear that much about
No.
actually. So she's probably trying to stay out of the limelight. Um, and then in 2005, he married Milena, who is obviously still married to, and they have a son called Baron. So he has 5 children. Yay.
That we know of.
Yeah, exactly. This is a little bit sad, and again, something I didn't know that he did what his brother Fred did actually die at 43 from alcoholism. And that means that Trump has never, so he says, smoked or drunk in his life. Like he just won't. He says he sleeps about 4 or 5 hours a night, and he's called golfing his primary form of exercise, but usually does not walk the courses. He has a buggy. He considers exercise a waste of energy because he believes the body is like a battery with a finite amount of energy, which is depleted by exercise. I'm fucked then. Uh,
Um, so that goes against science.
well, do you know? I mean, I'm coming on to it, but do you not remember when you told everyone to inject bleach for COVID?
Yeah, terrifying, isn't it?
Yeah. And again, he threatened everybody with legal suits around all of his medical records. So he's done it for his school records and he's done it for his medical records.
Well,
Yeah,
potentially his medical records will show that he was able to serve, allegedly.
probably. Yeah, probably. Um, so just the background to like his wealth and everything. Obviously, his dad was really wealthy, and they had this whole estate, like portfolio of houses and everything. He became president of the family real estate business in 1971, and he renamed it Trump Organization. And he wanted the business to do much more building, renovating, hotels, casinos, that kind of stuff, and golf courses. And he also started a foundation. He started a university and this foundation, and both of them were sued for tax evasion. So this university, I'm talking about buying a degree, you could spend $35,000 and learn how to buy houses. But anyway, they got shut down for tax evasion.
God. Oh,
Yeah, I know. So in the 19s, he launched a load of side ventures, mostly licensing the Trump name. And he produced and hosted the reality TV series The Apprentice. He's also written, in inverted commas, 19 books. He and his businesses have been involved in more than, wait for it, 4,000 legal actions, including 6 business bankruptcies.
I'm not surprised. I
I
am
mean,
surprised. That's huge, but
I don't know what it's like in the States, but here, like, obviously I used to be a lawyer and I had to like have like, if I was bankrupt, I couldn't be a lawyer. Now I'm a director of my own company. If I'm bankrupt, I can't be a director. So how the
I know.
fuck
And
has he got away with
also,
this?
not to mention the fact that no one would touch you with a barge pole. No one
Exactly.
would want to do business with you.
Exactly. It's fucking bad shit, mate. Anyway, so then we get onto the presidential shit. And obviously there's a lot of stuff before he became president when him getting involved in parties, etc. But we frankly don't have enough time to go through it all. But in 2016, he won the presidential election as the Republican Party nominee. And he, as we all know, defeated Hillary Clinton, which I think was a shame because she actually looked half decent.
So
Um,
again, another one where I wasn't super keen on her, thinking from the Palestinian point of view,
mm,
but still would prefer her to Trump.
exactly. Exactly.
And you remember that was such a dark fucking time for us here in the
Oh,
UK
yeah.
because it was within months. I can't remember which one was first, but it was like Brexit got, voted on, announced, and then Trump, or the other way around, but it was like months within months of each other. And it was just like, oh.
What is happening in the world? Yeah.
But can I
It's,
say, I blame the fucking Republican Party. Why the fuck? Because you've got Republicans and you've got Trump, and they are different. You have a lot of Republicans that are not keen on Trump and think Trump is like one of the worst things that has happened to the Republican Party. Why the fuck did you put him forward as a candidate then? You could have stopped that shit going as far as it did, you know?
yeah. And again, and again. Like what? Yeah. Just
Uh,
I just keep saying batshit, but it is batshit.
it
Like
is. And
it's
the fact that it's,
batshit.
like you say, happening again, never in a million years did you think we'd ever be in this situation,
No,
right?
exactly. You thought,
Oh,
okay, we'll give them once, but now what? Yeah. So he is the first US president without any prior military or government experience. So that's a big tell.
I think he was also the oldest. I think Biden's like 104 years older than him. But I think when he was elected, he was the oldest president.
Yeah, he definitely is now. I don't know if he was then, but he definitely
Yeah.
is now. He's the eldest that's ever been elected. Um, and then obviously with all the 2016 presidential election, there was all of these rumors about the Russian interfering in it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and actually, there was an investigation into it called the Mueller investigation, and they determined that they did. His campaign positions, this is Trump's positions, were described as populist, protectionist, and nationalist. His election and policy sparked numerous protests and led to the creation of a political movement and a cult of personality.
Can
He
I just
promoted
also say, those are all
Yeah.
the things they accuse us Palestinians of being in a negative light. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like those are
Yep.
things that are not seen as healthy for the development of your country and international relations. Yeah, it's fine when Trump does it.
Oh, of course. He promoted conspiracy theories and made many false and misleading statements during his campaigns and presidency to a degree that was unprecedented in American politics. Many of his comments and actions have been characterized as racially charged, racist, and misogynistic. No shit.
Mm-hmm.
So
Dangerous.
very
Dangerous.
dangerous. Well, I don't know if you remember this. When you look back on things, you're like, did that actually happen? But do you remember that he ordered a travel ban for citizens from several Muslim
Yeah,
majority
because I
countries?
got caught up in it because I wanted to not go to the States at all while Trump was president, but unfortunately I had to go for work, to go to DC as well. And he had implemented this I think he implemented it very temporarily and then they lifted it or whatever. But they were talking about Muslim people from Muslim countries, people of Muslim descent, or even Arab backgrounds. And so there was a debate. I had to fucking have this conversation with people from work about whether or not I would be even able to go on this trip.
It's batshit. Again, batshit.
Bear in
Um,
mind, I had a Belgian passport, like, and I was working for a healthcare charity. Like,
I
those
know,
are the
I know.
people that you're
But I
stopping.
I would have been fucked as well. Like all they needed to
Mhm.
do was ask my mum's maiden name
Yeah,
and I'd be fucked.
exactly.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's just
I feel you.
incredibly racist policies.
Yeah.
Incredibly racist.
Yeah. The other thing that he did was he diverted military funding towards building the
What's
wall.
education? No.
No, the wall between the US and Mexico, you know, this wall. And then
Ridiculous.
I mean, this is awful, but he implemented that family separation policy,
Hmm.
which is just
It's just
horrendous.
horrendous. If you remember at the time, there were fucking images as well of like children in cages and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And
Yeah.
it's like, I'm sorry, but wherever you stand politically, same with like, what's happening in Gaza at the moment. Surely, if you've got an ounce of decency, wherever you stand politically, you cannot possibly think that that's okay to treat any child, whether they're in the country illegally or not. They're a fucking child.
Yeah, it's just awful. Just awful.
Oh, horrendous.
Yeah.
Oh,
He rolled back more than 100 environmental policies and regulations and signed off the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which cut taxes and the elimination of the individual mandate penalty of the Affordable Care Act. So that was Obamacare. Do you remember that?
hmm.
So they're
Yeah.
basically version of the NHS.
Hmm.
Um,
Well,
and then,
it's for people that are like basically
yeah,
having either they're claiming some other benefits or whatever. So because the NHS is for all here. We have healthcare for all in the UK,
yeah,
and that is very
yeah.
specific, but at least it was something for people who couldn't afford healthcare. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Um, he appointed loads of people to his like I want to say it's not Parliament. I know they don't call it
Yeah.
Parliament, but Congress, I guess. And he reacted really, really slowly to the COVID-19 pandemic, ignored and contradicted recommendations from health officials, and used political pressure to interfere with testing efforts and spread unverified information about unproven treatments. The breach.
The last I heard about people he's appointing this time around was the healthcare minister or whatever the equivalent title is.
Yeah.
I think it's John F. Kennedy. No,
He's related to the Kennedys,
yeah,
yeah.
Robert, anti-vaxxer.
Yeah, exactly.
Great,
Exactly.
as the healthcare
He
person. Yeah.
he then also initiated a trade war with China, as you do, and withdrew the US from the proposed Trans-Pacific Partnership Trade Agreement and the Paris Agreement on climate change, and also the Iran nuclear deal. And as we all remember, he met with North Korean leader Kim Jong Un 3 times, but made no progress on denuclearization. Scholars and historians rank Trump as one of the worst presidents in American history. So why is he back? He lost the 2020 presidential election to Joe Biden, but refused to concede, falsely claiming widespread electoral fraud and attempting to overturn the results. On January the 6th, 2021, he urged his supporters to march to the US Capitol, and many of them attacked it.
This was one of the worst things I feel like he's done.
Yeah.
Because it's inciting hatred. If it was anyone else, they'd be done for fucking, hate speech, terrorism, whatever. I mean, this is awful. People died. I mean, lots of people died indirectly and directly at the hands of Trump, but this is just like the scale of it, where it happened. I mean, yes, carry on. I can't even.
I know. He is the only president that has been impeached twice for abuse of power and obstruction of Congress after he pressured Ukraine to investigate Biden, and in 2021 for incitement of insurrection. But the Senate acquitted him in both cases. But in 2024, a New York jury found him guilty of falsifying business records related to a hush money payment to Stormy Daniels, making him the first US president to be convicted of a felony. He faced more felony. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, I think that makes him ineligible to vote for the president, but yet he can run.
That shit.
What's happening?
I know. He faced more felony indictments relating to his alleged mishandling of classified documents. Do you remember they went in and they
taking shit home with him and stuff, wasn't he? Supposedly,
as you do, not a stapler.
Yeah,
actually classified documents, and also interference in the 2020 election. And he was found liable in civil trials for sexual abuse, defamation, and financial fraud. So after leaving office, he continued to dominate the Republican Party and for whatever reason became the nominee again in the 2024 presidential election and defeated Kamala Harris. So this time he actually won the popular and electoral vote.
Because they have a system in the States where you can, in theory, win the election even if you have less votes, because it's done state by state and then how many states you've won. So and there's always debate about whether or not to change it. So sometimes, I don't think it happens often, but sometimes the person who's elected actually has less votes overall. But yeah, he had more votes overall, as well as more states that overall voted for him.
50 million people voted for him or something fucking.
Go home, America, you're drunk.
Yeah, quite. So going back to his wealth, in 1982, he made the initial Forbes list of wealthy people for holding a share in his family's estimated 200 million net worth, which is now equivalent to 631 million. His losses in the 1980s dropped him from the list between 1990 and 1995. So after filing the mandatory financial disclosure report, when he first became running for president, you have to disclose all your finances, and he wouldn't do it.
He was calling originally on Obama to release his birth certificate.
Oh yeah, there was all that shit craziness. Yeah. And when he actually was told to, and he did, he announced a net worth of 10 billion. And then the FEC looked into it and showed at least 1.4 billion in assets and $265 million in liabilities. So they estimated that between 2015 and 18, his net worth dropped by 1.4 billion. Oh, shame.
I mean, he's still got a lot of billions there, but that is quite a big drop.
Yeah. And in 2024, his net worth was estimated to be 2.3 billion. He is 1,438 in the world. Richest man. I know. So his tax returns from 85 to 94 show net losses totaling 1.17 billion. And those losses were higher than those of almost every other American taxpayer. And then in 1990 and 1991, more than 250 million each year.
Was
It's just
he
like,
actually losing money? Was this a tax scam, you know, to show he's earning less, like
I think both actually, because the amount of
allegedly?
times he's been done for tax fraud is just ridiculous. Um, and then in 2020, the New York Times obtained his tax information for 2 decades, and they showed that since 2010, he had failed to pay back 287 million in loans. In 2015, or sorry, during the prior 15 years up to 2020, he was using tax credits for business losses, paid no income taxes in 10 of those years, and $750 each in 2016 and 2017. So
Sorry, how much?
he only paid $750 tax in 2016 and 2017.
I paid more tax than that.
Same.
Much more.
Yeah. It's just
Fuck.
like, yeah. He balanced his business's losses by selling and borrowing against assets, including 100 million mortgage on Trump Tower, and he refinanced that in 2022, and a liquidation of over 200 million in stocks and bonds. He personally guaranteed 421 million in debt, most of which was due by 2024. I couldn't find what had happened with that
It's
debt.
just another life, is another way of doing things, of just borrowing against this and against that and whatever. He clearly has no problem being in debt. He's clearly clever financially, I want to say, in terms of
Yeah,
how to make the most of what you've got and pay back the least.
yeah, I know. Interestingly, he's never actually filed for personal bankruptcy, and maybe that's where the whole like I was saying, I
Yeah,
can't be a director, so he's just done it all against his businesses.
I know, but
Um,
again, who's touching him with the barge pole?
I know, I know. It's honestly it's batshit
And I know
crazy.
that, like, I watched a couple of documentaries a fair while ago, but you know, a lot of these projects and stuff, when he declared these different branches of his business bankrupt or whatever, and these projects would fall through, that means all of the workers working on these construction sites and all these
Yeah,
people promised jobs in these new hotels or golf courses that were going to come about, like it fucked over so many people, you know?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
suddenly a whole bunch of people are unemployed, or the jobs they thought they were going to have, you know, or they're made redundant or unemployed or whatever. So it's more than just like he made a business bankrupt. It's like thousands of people
but
that affect.
also I think it's like one of the massive things here that's like is like really in my mind about it is if he can't look after his business's finances, how can he look after America's?
Yeah.
Like you can't, like, surely that's like your CV right there, like
Yeah. Well, I mean,
you
I kind of
can't.
feel like a lot of this is it's his strategy, isn't it? The bankruptcies and this,
Yeah,
that, and the
yeah,
other. But like again, do you want to get involved in business, or do you want someone running your country who's like that's his strategy? Oh, if it doesn't work out, we'll just shut it down. Never mind who it fucks over or whatever, as long as I'm okay.
yeah, exactly. So also, interestingly, when he became president the first time, he had to sort all of his business shit out. So he had to move a lot of his businesses um, to clearly sever himself from those businesses, although he continued to profit from them, because otherwise he could have been seen to have a conflict of interest. Um, and his administration, through those policies, could have affected those businesses. So he had to completely
Mm.
cut it. Um, and also with foreign trade deals and stuff like that, that could have impacted his businesses as well. So just like,
I mean, he's still profiting from them, so you would argue he's still got a vested interest in them. There's still that conflict of
yeah,
interest, isn't it?
yeah. Well, he did actually get sued for violating the domestic and foreign, I don't even know how you say this, emoluments. Is that how you say it? Clauses.
Why are you asking me? I'm
Of the
foreign.
Okay, well, yeah, I don't know how you say that word. Anyway, of the US Constitution, And again, this was the first time that those clauses had been substantively litigated. Of course, one was dismissed and in a lower court, and then two were dismissed by the Supreme Court. And then it became not an issue because then I think by the time it went through, his presidency had ended.
He's like fucking Teflon, isn't he?
Yeah. During his term in office, so 4 years, he visited a Trump Organization property on 428 days of his presidency. So where were his loyalties lying? So that is one visit every 3.4 days of his presidency. It's just bullshit.
How are you running a company that big and a country?
Yeah. And then under Trump, so talking about him not being able to sort out his finances, let alone America's, the federal budget deficit increased by almost 50% to nearly $1 trillion in 2019.
So the debt of the United States doubled.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck.
And by the end of his term, the US national debt increased by 39%, reaching 27.75 trillion. And the US debt to GDP ratio hit a post-World War II high.
Can I just Google how many zeros in trillion? Because I can't even.
I know that trillion, I think trillion in dollars is different to trillion in pounds. Because I know million.
How much is an American trillion? Yeah, there's some numbers that they have confusingly different. Oh, fucking hell. It's 1 million million.
A million. Wow.
So it's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 zeros.
Yeah.
Oh, a British trillion. They are mostly the same now. What? Sometimes it's 1 million billion is a trillion. It's far more money than any of us could ever fucking even begin to imagine.
Yeah. He also, you talking about people losing their jobs and stuff, he also failed to deliver the 1 trillion infrastructure spending plan on which he had campaigned. So that didn't happen. He totally rejects the climate change, everything on climate change he rejects. He reduced the budget for renewable energy research by 40% and reversed Obama-era policies directed at curbing climate change. Just like
fucking over future generations as well as these. Yeah,
exactly. Then another thing. So basically, I've titled this bit "Shit Laws That He Brought In." But as we know, he barred organizations that provide abortions or abortion referral from receiving federal funds. He said he supported traditional marriage, but considered the nationwide legality of the same-sex marriage. And they also rolled back key components of the Obama administration workplace protections against discrimination of LGBTQ plus people.
I don't know who was left to vote for him. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're literally... You're offending everyone, but some women must have. You see women at his rallies. I see these women and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, no one's going to make you get an abortion, but how are you so blind to the fact that everything he says and does is so anti-female? And then, you know, he manages to find people of color to sort of stand up and speak for him. And you know, I think the gays have cottoned on. I don't think there's very many gay people voting for Trump, but you know what I mean? There probably are some, but some of these people must have fucking voted for him.
Yeah, I know. And he also tried to roll back anti-discrimination protections for transgender people, but that was thrown out.
Because you remember he had like constantly was raising the debate about trans people, what toilets they're going to use.
Yeah.
And like, oh, they're gonna come in and like, I don't know what he thought they were gonna do to women in the girls' bathrooms or whatever. But he just made it like, you know, he was going on and on and on about this like issue which affects a very small amount of people. It's a very important issue, but like clearly is a distraction, clearly in a fear-mongering kind of way. These scary
Mm,
trends stealing all our safe spaces.
I know. Sorry. Sorry, I'm laughing because this is just so stupid.
It makes me
He said,
so sad.
yeah,
I feel
no,
like
I'm not laughing
crying.
at that.
No, I
I'm
know, I
laughing
know,
at
I know.
I'm laughing at the next bit because he said he is opposed to gun control.
Like at all.
I mean, no, why would you control guns? Like, seriously. Apparently his views have shifted over time. I think probably because kids keep getting shot. Um, but there were a lot of mass shootings during his term, and he then said he would propose legislation relating to guns, but he abandoned that in 19. So let's see. They also took an anti-marijuana position, and again revoking what Obama had put in. He is a long time. Oh, this will make you mad. He is a long time advocate of capital punishment. Under his administration, the federal government executed 13 prisoners, more than in the previous 56 years combined, ending a 17-year moratorium. I know.
Oh, it's just,
And then in 2016, he said that he supported the use of interrogation torture methods such as waterboarding. What?
and the
I
reason
have no
why,
words.
the thing is, before you think, okay, what's the problem with that? The capital punishment thing is fucking awful because you have so many miscarriages of justice in the States. And also, I don't understand the logic of you've done something wrong, so we're going to do the same thing back to you, you know?
Yeah, eye
Like,
for an eye.
yeah, I mean, it is very, very biblical. Um,
Yeah,
and the thing with like torture, it's like it's been disproved as a fucking useful method anyway, because all it means is that people give you false confessions. Because if you're waterboarded, you can guarantee you're going to say fucking anything to make that waterboarding
well,
stop.
yeah, exactly.
So it's not the most efficient way of, yeah. And again, the people that are being tortured are quite often not, they've not been charged with, they've not been convicted of anything at that point. So in
No,
theory,
exactly.
they're innocent. According to
Yeah,
your laws, America, they're innocent, and yet you're going to waterboard them, fucking electrify their nipples. Like, what the fuck?
yeah,
Hate this guy.
I know. So again, during his presidency, the first one, he granted 237 requests for clemency, fewer than
So,
all presidents. So that's
sorry.
like what pardoning people.
Yeah,
So he
yeah.
granted 237.
So he pardoned that many people.
Hmm.
It's really bonkers, isn't it? Because it's like, kill them all except for the ones I like, and then we'll let those ones free.
Yeah. And apparently, out of that 237, only 25 of them had been vetted by the Justice Department's Office for the Pardon Attorney. So he just bypassed what you should do.
And also all the professionals in the field, which is a
Yeah,
running theme.
exactly. And they were all people who were personal or political connections to him, his family, and his allies, or recommended by celebrities. I think Kim Kardashian got involved at some point. Um,
Interesting. Oh yeah, because no, there she got involved in a specific case and I can't remember any of it, but he likes hobnobbing with the celebrities and she would come in and see him because she's a lawyer now. But that was a legitimate case that she was working towards and
yeah,
she had to. I don't know whether she's pro-Trump or not. I have no idea, but she had to obviously interact with him because he was president at the time. But yeah, I think he liked the celebrity-ness of that one. Um, oh, I'm just fucking shivers.
I know. It's just awful. And like,
Oh,
obviously,
sorry, I was going to say he was obviously we were just talking about Biden pardoning his son, and Trump was the first one to come out and be like, well, that's not right, and criticizing him.
yeah. And also, I think I come onto it in a bit, but he said that everybody that got imprisoned for when they stormed the US Capitol, he said he would pardon them.
No, those people are the worst. And people died in that one, didn't they? There was a security
Yeah,
guard, and I mean,
yeah,
and
yeah.
also the fact that you are now saying it's okay to storm government buildings, you'll be let off. Like, why do you want to send that message out?
I know, I know,
Oh, it's literally giving me chills. It's fucking terrifying.
I know. And obviously, I can go into more detail about the whole separating children, the immigration laws, but we know he fucked up on all of that. But one thing that I find a little bit entertaining, little bit, is this whole campaign around building the 1,000-mile wall between Mexico and the US and basically telling Mexico they had to pay for it. Why?
Oh, it's crazy.
I
Um,
know,
yeah.
but
He wants to
I,
continue with that wall, doesn't he? He said he's
well,
going to.
yeah, interestingly, at the end of his 4-year term, only 40 miles of it had been built. So he was a new primary wall and a secondary wall. So 40 miles had been done of the new primary wall and 33 miles of the secondary wall. And he, in 2018, he refused to sign any of the appropriations bills, so any new laws coming through from Congress, until it allocated 5.6 billion for the border wall, which this meant that the federal government basically shut down for 35 days in December 2018 to January 2019. And that is the longest US government shutdown in history.
He
So
held his own government hostage, basically.
yeah, 800,000 government employees were furloughed and they worked without pay. Just like, I mean, so they ended this shutdown by approving temporary funding that provided delayed payments to government workers but no funds to the wall. And this apparently shutdown resulted in a loss of $3 billion to the economy.
Oh, no words.
I know. So then to stop it happening again, because obviously he can do this at any time, Congress passed and Trump signed a funding bill that included 1.375 billion for 55 miles of bollard border fencing. And he also declared a national emergency on the southern border, intending to divert $6.1 billion of funds that Congress had allocated to other purposes. So as soon as you declare a national emergency, you get the funding sent that way. So he was smart about that.
Yeah, because I think also declaring national emergency bypasses some of the processes for it gives the president a little bit more executive control, I think, because of this emergency state.
Yeah. And then also scarily, he's pro-Putin. He's never, rarely criticized Vladimir Putin, but has opposed some of the actions of the Russian government.
Well,
And then obviously, this was before Ukraine, so it'll be interesting to see what he does now.
he said he's going to go in there and sort it out.
Of course.
But he said he was going to sort out the Israel-Palestine issue in his last presidency, and he didn't. He made it worse. He, I won't go into it because it's a lot, but basically, all of the embassies of the different countries to Israel are in Tel Aviv, and he moved the American one to Jerusalem, which is a big political move because Jerusalem is one of the sticking points of peace in the region. So him moving the embassy there is him saying that Jerusalem is the Israeli capital, which is one of the things that is up for debate and negotiation. So it was him taking a very, very clear political stance that fucks over Palestinians a lot.
Oh yeah.
So who knows what he's going to do to us in the next 4 years?
Yeah. Yeah. He obviously tried and failed to sort out North Korea, failed. And he fucked up Afghanistan as well, like by withdrawing a load of the troops and all of that kind of stuff. yeah, and then I've got some notes on him supporting the policies of Benjamin Netanyahu, and the US did recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel and Israeli sovereignty. But he did get international condemnation for that, including from the UN General Assembly, the European Union, Arab League. Yeah,
But he doesn't care. All that needs is they were like naughty, naughty, and he was like, "Well, I don't give a shit."
yeah.
You know.
And he's fucking getting into Saudi Arabia. He actively supported the Saudi Arabian-led intervention in Yemen, and he signed a 110 billion agreement to sell arms to Saudi Arabia. And then in 2018, he provided limited intelligence and logistical support for the intervention of that. Following the 2019 attack on Saudi oil facilities, which the US and Saudi Arabia blamed on Iran, he then approved deployment of 3,000 additional US troops to go there. It's just like, what? He also ordered missile strikes in April 2017 and 18 against Assad regime in Syria in retaliation for the Khan and the chemical attacks, basically. And he also declared in 2018 that we have won the war against ISIS. Okay. And that contradicted the Department of Defense assessments of it.
So again, his own government.
Yeah, exactly. So
I remember he, while he was president, it's traditional for the president to get a daily brief from his, all of the advisors or whatever, and he put a stop to that. Just like, I don't need to.
There, he was fucking Trump properties, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's like, I don't need to know shit.
Exactly.
I'll make my decisions without hearing from the experts. Okay.
Yeah. In 2020, he ordered a US airstrike that killed Iranian general Qassem Soleimani, who had planned every significant Iranian-backed operation over the preceding 2 decades. A week later, Iran retaliated with ballistic missile strikes against 2 US air bases in Iraq. So loads of soldiers sustained traumatic brain injuries, but Trump downplayed their injuries, and they were initially denied Purple Heart medals and the benefits according to their recipients. It's just
his policies don't even make sense. Like you think he's going to be pro-military, blah blah blah, but then he fucks over the soldiers as well. Like,
yep.
He's unpredictable.
It's like also he's really smart in like the personnel that he puts in everywhere. Like he puts in judges, he puts in FBI directors, like all of that. So he's had the highest turnover of personnel, particularly among White House staff. And
because allegedly, if they disagree with him, they're gone.
Yeah, I mean, by the end of his first year in office, 34% of the original staff had resigned, been fired, or had been reassigned. And notable early departures included National Security Advisor, just after 25 days, press secretary, and he would disparage them, calling them incompetent, stupid, or crazy. And then in 2017, he dismissed FBI Director James Corney, whilst attributing this action to his conduct in the investigation about the Hillary Clinton emails. So yeah, he's appointed 226 Article 3 judges. I don't know what Article 3 means, including 54 to the Courts of Appeal and 3 to the Supreme Court. So his level of power,
influence
there is huge.
And these are all things that are meant to be the checks and balances to stop the president having too much power, or any one person, any one department having too much power in it and being able to run off and do whatever they want without, the influence and the input from the other relevant departments and experts. And he's basically making it so they're in his pocket. It's terrifying.
And I mean, that's how he's got out of his impeachments. That's how he's got out of all the cases against him. I'm going to cough. Yeah.
Time
It's
for a
just
break,
honestly,
I think, if you don't
I
mind.
think yeah, it definitely is time for a break because yeah,
We
we're
need a
coming on
fucking
to his
break.
re-election now. Yeah,
Ugh. Ugh.
I know.
All right. See you back after the break. All right. Part two. More Trump shit. Off you go.
Have you recovered yet?
I'm ready. Ugh.
I know. I feel like I'm traumatizing you.
It's just hearing it all together in one go. That's a lot. Do you know what I
I
mean?
know.
Like, I knew a lot of this.
I know.
It's just like having it listed at you that it's like, oh my God, how the hell did this happen?
Yeah, I know. I know. And I'm actually not even going into all of it because, like I said, we
There's
just
not
don't have
time.
enough
You can't
time.
raise the
But
4,000 litigations or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Go into depth about those
exactly,
4,000 cases.
exactly. I know. Okay. So obviously we know that he tried to get re-elected, but he lost to Biden. On the day of the election results at 2 a.m. in the morning, results were still unclear, but Trump decided to declare victory. Um, and he stated that the election was far from over and baselessly alleged election fraud. Again, this is what he does. Him and his allies filed many legal challenges to the result, which were rejected by at least 86 judges in both the state and federal courts, including the ones that he'd appointed himself. So at least they saw sense over that. They didn't find any factual or legal basis for these claims. They were also refuted by the state election officials. And also, after the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency said that they contradicted what Trump was saying, the director of that infrastructure was dismissed by Trump. Just like, we don't agree with you. Okay, I'm going to fire you.
Mm-hmm.
On the December the 11th of that year, the US Supreme Court declined to hear a case from the Texas Attorney General that asked the courts to overturn the election results in 4 states won by Biden. So he basically withdrew from public activities. And as we know, it's different to here in that they win, but then they don't come in for a few months. So he's still president at this point, but he's withdrawn from public activities. And he also blocked government officials from cooperating in the transition to Biden. So after 3 weeks, the administrator of the General Services Administration declared Biden the apparent winner of the election, allowing the disbursement of transition resources to his team. But Trump did not formally concede, whilst claiming he recommended the GSA. Sorry, start again. So yeah, I've done my bit. From November to January, Trump repeatedly sought help to overturn the results, personally pressuring Republican local and state office holders and also the federal legislators, the Justice Department, and the Vice President, urging various actions such as replacing presidential electors and also to relook at all the voting, like just ridiculous. And then in February 2021, Georgia prosecutors opened a criminal investigation into his efforts to subvert the election in Georgia. And Trump did not attend Biden's inauguration. So he's bitter.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the first times that's happened.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I wasn't aware of this. This was a surprise to me. It makes sense, but I just wasn't aware of it. In December of 2020, the Newsweek in America reported that the Pentagon was on red alert and ranking officers had to discuss what to do if Trump declared martial law. And because basically, if he did that, they'd be screwed.
Yeah. Because again, that's another thing which gives him like almost unlimited power for the state for the period of time.
Exactly.
Oof.
Yeah, so, and also a coup attempt or military action against China and Iran was also a concern of theirs. So they had to look at actually what they were going to do. So then we know around the January 6th Capitol attack. And yeah, basically, as I said, in March 2023, he said that if he got re-elected, then he would pardon many of them. We then have the second impeachment in 2021, where he had taken loads of documents home. And again, it was dismissed by the court, which is just that shit.
And because it was dismissed, he was able to run again.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
if he was impeached formally, even though he wasn't president anymore,
Yeah.
it would mean he would be unable to run again.
Yeah. The fact that he's basically had all these criminal things against him, I think means he shouldn't be able to run again. But you know, what do I know?
Again, it's this
He,
weird fucking situation where he's not eligible to vote anymore because of all his felony, whatever, yet he can still run. They've just obviously forgot a bit of like, tidying up the laws there.
yeah, but he's not going to change the laws, is he? But yeah, someone needs to. I don't know why Biden didn't.
Yeah, I know. I
Like
feel
Biden.
like that was like a lesson that should have,
Yeah,
do you know
definitely.
what I mean? Like
Yeah,
let's make it so that this can't happen again.
yeah.
Maybe they were
So
trying and this kind of shit probably takes a long time.
yeah, probably. So now it's sort of getting onto the crime part of Donald Trump
What, we
in
haven't
more
even started on
detail.
the crime.
So he is the only US president, or former president, to be convicted of a crime and the first major party candidate to run for president after a felony conviction. He still faces numerous criminal civil cases against him. So when, again, the impeachment part, so he's had a number of FBI investigations against him. When he left the White House in 2021, he took government materials with him. And by May, they realized that important documents were missing and hadn't been turned over to them, asked his office to locate them. They received the next year, they received 15 boxes of White House records, but they still hadn't.
This wasn't like, oh, I was working on this document. I accidentally brought it home in my briefcase. This is 15 boxes of stuff, 15 plus boxes of stuff.
Exactly. It's just unbelievable. They realized that some stuff was still missing, and they also realized how classified these documents were. So they subpoenaed him for the additional material, and the Justice Department officials actually visited one of his properties to get it.
The Florida one, I think, wasn't it? Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, Malago.
Yeah.
And on August 8, 2022, FBI agents searched Mar-a-Lago to recover government documents and material Trump had taken with him when he'd left office in violation of the Presidential Records Act. The fact that they need that is
Well,
weird.
I mean, good that they have it. Like, don't take this shit
Yeah,
home. Make sure you leave
yeah,
it. Do a good handover. Your country is at stake.
yeah. Some of the documents related to nuclear weapons.
Just what you want floating around. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The items taken in the search included 11 sets of classified documents, 4 of them tagged as top secret, and 1 as top secret SCI, the highest level classification. Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that much, you know?
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
said, it's not just like, oh, I just like bits of paper here and there from things I was working on, whatever. This is like, let me clear out all the files on this topic, bring them home,
Yeah.
and organize a van to bring them because that's a lot of boxes.
Yeah. And there was more than 15 boxes because obviously there was still stuff missing.
Missing, yeah.
Oh, it's just unbelievable. So then on the 19th of December 22, the United States House Select Committee, around the January 6th attack, recommended criminal charges be brought against Trump for obstructing an official proceeding, conspiracy to defraud the United States, and inciting or assisting in insurrection. There's that as well. Following the trial, sorry, In December 2022, following a jury trial, the Trump Organization was convicted on 17 counts of criminal tax fraud, conspiracy, and falsifying business records in connection with tax fraud. This stretched over 15 years. And in January 2023, the organization was fined a maximum 1.6 million, and its chief financial officer was sentenced to jail and probation after a plea deal. Trump was not personally charged in the case.
And when you think about, like, if you think, oh, tax fraud is kind of a lesser crime, that's the president fucking over and taking money out of the pockets of the people of the states.
Yeah.
That he is the president of.
They're so stupid they don't realize that.
And when he's talking about tax cuts, oh, that sounds fantastic. But where are these tax cuts? Where's that extra money coming from then? Or where is the public spending cuts? Where are they going to be? You know?
Yeah. So he's taken it out of the Obamacare. He's cut all of that. He's not paying tax himself. His companies aren't paying tax. Just saying, he's not on your side, guys. So in June 2023, a federal grand jury in Miami indicted Trump on 31 counts of willfully retaining national defense information under the Espionage Act, and 1 count of making false statements, and 1 count each of conspiracy to obstruct justice, withholding government documents, corruptly concealing records, concealing a document in a federal investigation, and scheming to conceal their efforts. He pleaded not guilty. A superseding indictment the following month added 3 charges, and the judge assigned to the case was Aileen Cannon, who had been appointed by Trump previously.
How is that allowed? Do you know what I mean?
And also, I know, but also in all the cases that she'd ever done in relation to Trump, she had found in his favor.
I don't know why they wouldn't find another judge.
I know.
Or at this point, is there no judge that he hasn't appointed? But like, so sorry, he's being like looked at for spying, basically espionage on his own country.
Yeah. Okay. So shock horror. She moved really slowly on the case, and it was indefinitely postponed, and dismissed it in July, on July the 15th this year. It's been appealed, but yeah, who knows? And then another case. So on the 1st of August last year, a federal grand jury indicted Trump for his efforts to overturn the 2020 election results. He was charged with conspiracy to defraud the US, obstruct the certification of the electoral college vote, and deprive voters of civil rights to have their votes counted, and obstructing an official proceeding. Again, he pleaded not guilty. And then later in August 2023, in Georgia, a grand jury indicted him on 13 charges, including racketeering for his efforts to subvert the election outcome in Georgia. Multiple Trump campaign officials were also indicted. He surrendered and was processed at the county jail. Would love to have seen that. And was released on bail pending the trial. He pled not guilty on March 13th, 2024.
Actually, was that when the photo came out, the mugshot came out, actually? Yeah.
Yeah. And the judge dismissed 3 of the 13 charges against Trump.
But what about the other 10? Do him for those!
Yeah, exactly. In 2016, there was a campaign fraud case, and there was a company that was set up by somebody called Cohen, who paid Playboy model Karen McDougal and adult film actress Stormy Daniels for keeping silent about their alleged affairs with Trump between 2006 and 2007. Cohen pleaded guilty in 2018 to breaking campaign finance laws, saying he'd arranged both payments at Trump's direction to influence the presidential election. Trump denied affairs and said he was not aware of Cohen's payments to Daniels, but he reimbursed him in 2017. So they're basically saying he used campaign funds to pay off people.
He probably justified it by saying,
yeah,
well,
of course,
this will help me get elected if my bad shit goes away.
Yeah. So
allegedly.
Allegedly. Court documents showed that the FBI believed that he was directly involved in the payments to Daniels based on calls he's had with Cohen, but they closed the investigation in 2019. In 2021, the New York State Attorney General Office opened a criminal investigation into his business activities, and they subpoenaed Trump Organization for records relating to these payments and 8 years of tax returns they asked for.
How much shit does he?
I know. There's more. In 2023, March, a New York grand jury indicted him on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records to book the hush money payments to Daniels as business expenses in an attempt to influence the 2016 election. And the trial began in April 24, and in May, a jury convicted Trump on all 34 counts. Sentencing's actually been set for now, but I haven't heard anything about what the sentencing is, so I don't think that has happened. Yeah, I know.
That's happening while he's running for president.
Well, got in as president.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So then, I know, there's more. In September 2022, the Attorney General of New York filed a civil court fraud case against Trump and his 3 eldest children and the Trump Organization. Trump was fined $110,000 for failing to turn over records subpoenaed by the Attorney General. And then in August, in August 2022, Trump invoked his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination more than 400 times. The judge ruled in 23 that Trump and his adult sons and the Trump Organization repeatedly committed fraud and ordered their New York business certificates cancelled and their business entities sent into receivership for dissolution, so bankruptcy. And in 2024, the court found Trump liable, ordered him to pay a penalty of more than $350 million plus interest, and barred him from serving as an officer or director of any New York corporation or legal entity for 3 years. But he can still be president.
What?
And then in 2023, a New York jury in a federal lawsuit brought by journalist E. Jean Carroll found Trump liable for sexual abuse and defamation and ordered him to pay her $5 million. And then he got into all sorts, but it wasn't rape, blah, 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 blah. Bullshit. He also then countersued her for defamation. And the judge for the 2 lawsuits ruled against Trump, writing that Carroll's accusation of rape is substantially true. He appealed both decisions. Then in 2024, the jury ordered Trump to pay Carroll $83.3 million in damages.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I feel like crying.
I know. It's just like fucking batshit. So finally, he, as we know, has a history of insulting and belittling women. When he's speaking to the media and on social media, he loves his social media. He makes lewd comments. He disparages women's physical appearances, and he also has used a lot of derogatory language. At least 20.
People with
Go on.
disabilities as well. Do you remember?
Mhm.
Quite a few times. Oh, go
Yeah.
on.
At least 26 women have publicly accused Trump of rape, kissing, and groping without consent, looking under women's skirts and walking in on naked teenage pageant contestants.
Oh yeah,
He
because
has,
he fucking, I think he owned Miss America,
mm,
didn't he, for a while, or he was heavily involved in it. It was somewhere high up in that organization. So he was always around these Miss America people, and they are young adults.
yeah,
That
I think my battery on my headphones is about to run out. Bear with me for 1 second. I just need to get a wire.
I'll just do something entertaining so I don't have to edit this bit out. Mm, is this entertaining? I'm shimmy shimmy ya yaing from ODB
Are
episode.
you?
Yeah, look, shimmy shimmy ya ya, shimmy shimmy ya. Um, oh, one of the women is Ivanka, who accused him of rape once upon a time. Because I went to go watch The Apprentice, the film about the biopic about Trump, or loosely based on him, whatever. And it was horrible. It was like a horrifying film. It wasn't enjoyable at all because it's about Trump. But I couldn't help thinking he would probably love watching this about himself because all the things that I find disgusting, he's probably like super fucking proud of. But there
Yeah.
was one scene that I was shocked by because I don't want to say I forgot about it, but I guess I did or I didn't know about it. There's a scene in the film, and granted, it's a film, where he raped Ivanka.
Yeah, so I looked at that, and sorry, my headphones and mic aren't working now. So hopefully you can still hear me okay. He basically I had a look at that, and basically she, in her divorce deposition, so it's Ivana,
Oh yeah,
because
sorry.
Ivanka is his
Daughter,
daughter.
yes, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all right. She, in her divorce deposition, she described him raping her as to what happened, and he said that she had like said to him, "You're getting fat, you're getting ugly, you're getting bald," and he then forced her to the floor and raped her. But she like basically walked back on it and
Yeah.
said, I had marital relations in which he behaved very differently towards me than he had during our marriage. As a woman, I felt violated and referred to this as rape, but I do not want my words to be interpreted in a literal or criminal sense. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah, and then obviously there was that hot mic thing where he was recorded and he didn't realize, and he was recorded bragging that a celebrity like himself can do anything to women, including just start kissing them. I don't even wait, and grab them by the pussy.
and I know that they dismiss his supporters or whatever, dismiss this as like locker room chat. That's not locker room chat.
No.
Locker room chat is saying, "Ooh, that girl's hot." Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
That is basically him describing sexual assault as being a thing that he's okay doing. I'm not even going to say allegedly because that's what fucking factually happened.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So,
And if I
yeah.
was a guy and I was in a locker room and someone in there said something along those lines, I would not be like, "Oh, this is just locker room chat." I would follow up on it and maybe call the police on them. Guys, don't accept this. Boys will be boys. You deserve better for yourself as a fucking gender. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Exactly. So, yeah. So that is Donald Trump, who,
I feel like we're going to have so many updates on this episode over the next fucking
yeah.
4 years, unfortunately, and longer. I
Yeah.
wonder if there's a situation where this presidency won't happen or will get terminated Do you know what I mean? If anything from these outstanding legal
Yeah,
issues.
how can he not be impeached? Like,
I mean, fingers crossed that happens before he does too much damage.
yeah.
Like I said, there's two issues here. There's the fact that we've got Trump in power for 4 years, and there's the fact that America's public opinion is so far gone that they're okay voting in a Trump. And that's more of a long-standing concern.
Yeah.
I just don't know how he can fuck over so many people and there's still anyone left to vote for him. Because that percentage of people that are really rich white males is so small, it's not enough to get him voted in. You know what I mean? If we're missing something, I don't know if I want to do this, but if we're missing something, if you are a Trump supporter, if we're missing something, if that will make him a good president, if the fucking, yeah, DM us, tell us, give us some good news about this.
Yeah. Tell us what we're missing.
Yeah. Tell me a good policy he introduced or something that helped people genuinely. I would like some good news. I did this when the Brexit vote came out. I was like desperately trying to find someone who would give me actual positive things that would come out of Brexit, you know, because it's happening now. So fine, tell me at least what the good bits will be. And I've got nothing. Got nothing.
There's one bit of Brexit that I am happy about.
Yeah.
And that is that the European Union don't have so much say over our laws anymore.
Yeah, but I'm okay with that in theory, except it makes me nervous about who then will have influence over our laws in this country.
Well, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Now, yeah.
So
yeah. Because the European Union did release some really fucking shit laws.
I know, but then there were also some good ones, minimum wage and stuff like that. So again, it's like I get that argument, but because I don't know how it plays out, it makes me nervous, you know?
Yeah.
Because like I think a lot of people that were anti-Brexit were like, okay, we know it's not perfect, but better the devil you know. We don't know what the alternative is. You've not fucking explained it to us. You remember at the time, like they hadn't worked out any kind of trade agreement with Europe or anything. Like we had no fucking idea how it was going to play out. And I feel the same with Trump. Like you talk to Trump supporters and they go, oh, at least he's honest. No, he's not. He's not fucking honest. Oh, he speaks his mind. Yeah, but he's a fucking psychopath, narcissist, allegedly, whose mind changes every 5 minutes and is based entirely on what he wants and what serves him.
Yeah.
So, I'm just baffled. I'm just baffled. I need some mood lightening. What about you?
Please. Yes. And can I also, to lighten the mood, can I just explain the hoodie that I'm wearing?
Please. Because I know it's a big deal and you're very happy and I'm happy for you.
Max Verstappen. I know this is 2021 and it's his first championship, but he's just been made 4th time champion of the world. Yes,
in a
Max.
row, huh?
Yes, Max. Fuck all you haters. Fuck all you haters.
So if you haven't worked out, Emma loves Formula One and is a Max Verstappen fan.
Yeah.
And yeah, he did really good.
I
told you that I watched the sprint in the lounge at the airport and cried.
Yeah.
I'm emotional.
I was like, I hadn't seen it and I was like, what the fuck happened that made Dee cry? Like, did someone die? No, just someone gave up their place, as he rightly should have.
But it was noble and lovely gesture.
It was noble. It was very noble.
And it doesn't always happen like that, does it? So yeah, it did make me emotion. All right, so let's lighten the mood. Let's lighten the mood with some Dee and Emma do dating. And today I've got an application to date us.
Yay!
Yeah, and this is from Gray Jones. I met him on CrimeCon. You didn't meet him because he was there on the day that you weren't there. But he was awesome. So Gray, shout out to you. We adore you.
Is he just a fan, or does he have a podcast? Or
No, he listens to podcasts. He loves our podcast. He's a fan of our podcast now.
Yay.
And he's super sweet, always like sends me feedback on the episodes and everything. So it's just very, very sweet. We love our listeners. And just really, really cool guy. Just hung out with him a lot of Saturday, and it was just really, really fun. He's coming to our Christmas event. So
awesome.
a lot
I'll
of our
get to meet him then.
Yeah. We do our events at the brewery market, and we've got 2 events coming up for Cozy Crimes and Christmas Beers on the 10th and the 11th of December. So have a look at that. You can meet Gray. So he is 41 and us, obviously. You can meet us. Yeah. But more importantly, you can meet Gray. He's an amazing photographer. So you can see his Instagram at Twisted Pics. Pics being spelled Pixx. He lives in Luton, aka Mordor. Been to Luton, accurate. What's in your fridge right now? Expired products with little yellow Asda whoop stickers on them. I like that. That's good for the environment.
Yeah, cost conscious as well, like it.
Exactly. Favorite Ninja Turtle? Raphael, but only because I used to wield 2 small gardening forks. I don't know if he was a gardener or if he
just liked them.
Just like gardening forks. Perfect first date, blues bar with wings and whiskey cocktails. I can't have the wings, but if you have like, maybe substitute them with like those, cauliflower wings or corn on the cob wings that they do. Yeah, love that. Weird fact about you. I hate the taste of metal in my mouth. That's not weird. Who likes the taste of metal in their mouth?
What metal would you have in your mouth, though? Unless you've got braces.
Oh, cutlery.
Oh, yeah, true. Well, you don't really taste that, though. You shouldn't. Anyway.
Maybe he does. I don't know.
Maybe. Stop licking your cutlery.
We have follow-up questions at the Christmas event. Some things you like. Music, pub quizzes, random facts, traveling, and pets with human names. Yes.
Yay.
Shout out to the whippet in my local park who's called Mark with a C.
Nice. I mean, all of our dogs have human names.
Yeah, true. But they're also quite doggy, but yeah. Let's have a look. Last time you cheated on a partner, we were on a break.
Nice.
Last time you cheated on your taxes, I thought they were tax breaks. Anything else we should know? I use the 8 alarm wake up system. I have a 50 before 50 list. 7 of them are done so far, and I love karaoke. 8 alarms. I feel sorry for your partner because that kind of shit drives me crazy. Because I wake up at alarm 1.
I wake up to the radio. That's what I do to get not have some jarring fucking.
Yeah. I know. I had a massive go at my dad 2 days in a row when I was in Brazil because I had, I was on holiday, right? So I was dozing on the sofa and lunch was ready. So he had to call me for lunch. But rather than just nudging me and being like, Dee, lunch is ready, he shouts at me from across the room to wake up because lunch is ready. And that is such an unsettling way to get woken up from your nap. Your dad shouting at you from across the room. And that raises my anxiety. And then my anxiety is high fucking hours after, and it takes ages to calm down.
Yeah.
So I told him, look, can you just give me a little nudge or just say my name not at a shouting level to get me to come for lunch. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even think, because I knew it wasn't it was just him being a bit thoughtless. Next day does the exact same thing, no, I'll let you off once.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Papa Sapia.
Love him.
Yeah.
Love you, Papa Sapia. I actually talked to him in our break and told him what we were doing for this episode, and he said that he might actually listen to this episode. So folks, if you've got this far, we love you.
We love you.
There's no way he's got this far. Let's see.
Yeah.
Should we put in another Easter egg? If you are listening to this, Pops, buy me a pony, and then I know you've heard the episode. All right. Well, I hated that episode.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I only love you. Like there's no hate in that emotion. There's no mixed emotions there. I love my listeners and your listeners, our listeners. They're amazing.
We love you.
They're really sexy.
Very sexy listeners.
Mm-hmm. And they should get sexy listener t-shirts, which you can buy in our merch store.
Yeah, I mean, Christmas is coming up. What a brilliant Christmas present.
Susie, we've got Susie merch. Susie, get your whole family Susie merch.
Yeah.
What other podcast has merch specifically customized for your family, Susie?
Exactly.
Yeah. And do think about coming along to our Christmas event, because we would love to see you there. We're so excited about it.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see you next week, and we adore you. Bye.
Mwah. Bye.
Where is the record? Why did they move it around?